Everyone has something they favor the most over everything else. It could be your favorite type of ice cream, your favorite movie, or even your children, if you're like my parents. Anyway, this is no different when it comes to Team Fortress 2. Every player in TF2 has a favorite weapon. For example, if you want to dominate the enemy team but don't want to actually put in the work in, then you probably favor the Kritzkrieg. If you want to play TF2 but also want to play CSGO at the same time, then you probably like the upper hand. Or if you just want to make everyone's day miserable, then you most likely favor the Dead Ringer. Even so, I also fall into the category of having a favorite weapon when it comes to TF2. But before I tell you what that weapon is, you already know because you read the title. Let's talk about accuracy. If you've been playing TF2 long enough, you will know that every class has a weapon that specializes in accuracy. Soldier with a direct hit, Medic with the Crossbow Crusader, Heavy with the Timing Slav, hell, even Spy with the Ambassador. This brings us to the Pyro, with this being possibly the Pyro's greatest asset, the flare gun. Anyways, if you've been watching my streams, you know that the flare gun is my main secondary weapon anytime I play the Pyro. It truly is a great weapon for the Pyro, not just because of its ability to pick out the targets, but the skill required to use the flare gun efficiently. The flare gun is a simple weapon with basic mechanics. When fired at a burning enemy, it's able to deal a critical hit, doing 90 damage in the process. Comparing this to other secondary weapons, we can see that the flare gun specializes in accuracy, while the detonator focuses on crowd control / mobility, and the scorch shot being the combination of these two secondaries. With this in mind, we can see that the flare gun is a terrific weapon for the Pyro when it comes to individual battles, and picking out specific enemies such as the Medic. The ability to deal instant 90 damage can be a game changer when it comes to 1v1 situations. So imagine this, you turn around the corner, you see a scout, you hit him with the flames of your flamethrower, and are able to get a good 40 damage on him. He also exchanges blows with you as well, and he gets 2 good scattergun shots on you, doing 102 damage. Now there are 2 ways that this can go down. Either you start spraying and praying with your flamethrower like a madman, not being able to do enough damage to the scout while he kills you with a scattergun. Or air blast the scout away to stop him from connecting all those scattergun pellets to your little squishy body, taking out your flare gun, and doing that sweet 90 damage crit on him, finishing the job. Now of course it's not going to go without saying that the flare gun is not an easy weapon to use. Hell, I would even say it's one of the most difficult weapons to use in the game. This is because the flare gun is not a hit scan weapon, meaning that you'll have to lead your shots instead of aiming at the enemy like any other gun. So what are the downsides of the flare gun? Well, as mentioned before, the flare gun is not a hit scan weapon, so you'll have to lead your shots to compensate. The other downside is that the enemy needs to be on fire for the critical hit to take effect. However, this can be solved easily by using a flamethrower to burn your enemy, then switching back to your flare gun to finish the job. Also, one of the biggest downsides of the flare gun is the ability to only hit one player at a time. Comparing this to the detonator and the scorch shot, the flare gun is unable to hit multiple targets at once. So going against an entire group alone with just your little flare gun is not going to do the trick. However, going to 1v1 situations gives you a great advantage, since using your flames and the flare gun can one-shot 4 out of the 9 classes. Even so, the flare gun can only work when the enemy player is on fire, and there are many ways to set them on fire. However, the most efficient way to set an enemy player on fire is with, of course, the flamethrower. When it comes to flamethrowers, there are only 2 that I would recommend when using the flare gun, and that would be with the stock flamethrower and the degreaser. If we're talking about just putting enemy players into flames, then the stock flamethrower is going to be your best option. Not only is the flamethrower able to deliver more damage compared to the degreaser, it's also able to air blast more compared to the degreaser. However, if we're talking about just speed alone, then the degreaser wins in that regard flawlessly, since it has a faster holster and deploy speed compared to the flamethrower. Personally, I like to use the stock flamethrower compared to the degreaser, since I'm able to utilize more air blast and deal more afterburn damage compared to the degreaser. Hey, since we're on the topic of flamethrowers, let's talk about air blasting. When we're talking about the flare gun, I believe that air blasting is an important aspect when it comes to the use of the flare gun. air blasting can be an extremely effective tool when used in the right conditions. One of these conditions is when you air blast your enemy player way up high in the sky. Not only would the enemy player be immobilized in the air, it would also lead to the opportunity for an easy flare gun kill as well. However, this would be a challenge with the scout, since he has the ability to double jump, which will make it much harder on you to predict as to where he's going. Yeah, so that's going to be the end of the video. If you have any comments or feedback of this video, please leave it down in the comments. Your feedback really helps me improve my content overall. So yeah, that's going to be it. See ya.